Okay, anyways, I can't see the setting there. Fine. Hare Krishna. So thank you all for joining us. Whoever has joined, I don't know who all are here, but nonetheless. So we are talking about Hanumanji. Yesterday we discussed about Hanumanji's life, uh, his birth, his childhood pastimes, how he jumped to eat the sun planet, and then how he got blessed by Brahma and Adi Devtas. And after receiving so much blessings, the baby Hanuman became extremely powerful, and how Hanumanji began to cause havoc in the ashram of sages, and how he got cursed to forget all the powers, and then he went and took um, his Gurukul education from Surya Devta himself. And Surya Devta requested Hanuman as Hanumanji asked, "My dear Lord, what can I do for you? You have taught me. What diksha can I give? Or what can I do for you? What service can I render?" So Hanumanji said, "My son, my Amsha, Sugriv has taken birth. Please be always by his side." And we were discussing yesterday about the loyalty of Hanuman, how Hanumanji was much more powerful and qualified than Sugriv. Yet Hanumanji did not care for that. He was so loyal to his guru that he faithfully served Sugriv despite all his weaknesses and so forth. And then we talked about how Lord Ram, the mother Sita was kidnapped, and how Lord Ram met Sugriv through Hanumanji. And the such happened. And then finally we came to the point where Sampati, Hanumanji and all other wanderers meet Sampati, and Sampati tells Hanumanji and Jambavan and Angad that Ravana had kidnapped Sita and had taken Sita across the ocean. And up to that point, we had concluded. So today, there's not much ahead because after that, as you all know, Hanumanji meets. So we're going to talk briefly about it. But however, the main focus today of discussion would be about the obstacles that Hanumanji faced while he was engaged in rendering his service to Lord. And those obstacles, or जो कठिनाइयाँ हनुमान जी को face करनी पड़ी थी, more or less similar kind of challenges as a practicing devotees we also come across in our life. Isliye I titled the session today as Role Model for Devotees. We can learn some very beautiful points and lessons from Hanumanji, how he tackled those obstacles and how he transcended those obstacles. And these are the obstacles which we must necessarily face in spiritual life. And we'll talk about it in a short while from now. So, before we begin our discussion, let's offer our prayers to Hanumanji. This is a beautiful verse that we had recited yesterday also. Yatra yatra raghunatha kirtanam tatra tatra kratamastakāņjalim vāshpavari paripurna lochanam marutim namata rakshasāntakam. Sri Maruti, the son of wind god, the terror to demons Rakshasas, is present wherever praise of Shri Ram is sung, with joyous tears in his eyes and folded hands over his head. To him we offer our salutations, our namaskar. So Hanumanji is known for his dedication, for his service, seva bhav for Lord Ram. So today, before we get into the obstacles faced by Hanumanji and lessons for us, I would like to quote one very beautiful, one of my favorite stories I can say. I'm pretty sure you might have heard of it, or if not, you will also love it. A very, very beautiful story for all the sadhakas in relation to how to render service. And the story happens post Lanka war. Bhagwan Ram Ayodhya वापस आ चुके हैं. Rajyabhishek unka ho chuka hai. He is the king now, he is ruling. So one day, Lakshman ji, along with Bharat and Shatrughan, approaches Mother Sita. And they said, "Hey Maya, hum log bahut dukhi hain." So Mother Sita asked, "What happened? What is the subject of concern? Why are you so worried?" All the three said, "Hey Mother, Just give me a quick second. Let me mute all of you. Yeah. So the Lashman said, Mother, the problem is, Mother said, what's your problem? Why are you so worried? So Lakshmani said, Mother, the problem is, since Ramji had come back to Ayodhya, I know, along with Ramji, Hanumanji also came and is also staying in Ayodhya. The problem is, since Hanuman has come to Ayodhya, Hanumanji does not allow us to do any service for Lord Ram. He has taken all the services for Lord Ram. We have become jobless. हमारे पे कोई सेवा ही नहीं बची भगवान राम के लिए. And when Mother Sita heard this, Sita became a little depressed also. And she said, आप जो सब कह रहे हो सही कह रहे हो. मेरी भी यही शिकायत है. Even I don't have any opportunity to render service to Lord Ram, although I am his wife. Hanumanji does not allow me to do. Even before I could think I could render service, Hanumanji have already completed the seva. So now all the four came together because they had the same problem. So you can empathize very easily. They are suffering there, The cause of problem is also Hanumanji for them. So they all four came together and they began to think about it. How can we get our services back? So they thought, let's, was primarily suggested by the brothers, let's pass out a legislation. Let's draft a law. First of all four will sit and make all the services. We're going to make a service chart. And service chart banane ke saath saath will assign seva. Some of you might be aware, when we have festivals at Hinjawadi, like Janmashtami and all, we make service chart and then we assign seva. So like that, all four of them did brainstorming just to make sure no seva is missed out. They listed out all the services to Lord Ram and they assigned all the services among four of them. Hanumanji was not given even a single seva. Why? Because they were fearful. Agar Hanumanji ko allow karana, he will take all of our seva. So better give him a gap. So he understands what happened when you don't have a seva. So like that, they passed out, they drafted a whole legislation. And the brothers gave it to Mother Sita. So they said, Mother, because being a wife, Ram being your husband, there is a more probability of he signing this law than we approaching him. क्योंकि हम भाई है ना तो राम मना भी कर सकते हैं पर पत्नी को पति मना नहीं करेगा. So please you go. So Mother Sita went and under the pressure of Mother Sita, although Lord Ram was not at all happy, he warned Sita, see, you're creating a big trouble. Hanumanji will be very, very upset. So Mother Sita said, whatever it is, enough is enough. Now we want seva. We don't get any seva. So Lord Ram said, okay, what can I do? He signed. And the next morning, all over Ayodhya, the legislation was pasted. The new law has been passed by Lord Ram. And when Hanuman came to palace to resume his services for Lord Ram, he came actually to the chambers of Lord Ram early in the morning to massage the feet of Lord Ram. That was his early morning seva that he'll do before Lord Ram will wake up. So when he came, immediately Lakshman came on the way. He said, Hanuman, kahan ja rahe ho tum? Arey, mere Bhagwan ki seva ka samay hai, unke charan dumane ja raha hu. Lakshman said, Hanuman, that is not your seva. That seva is assigned to Shatrughan. Don't you know? Last night, new legislation was passed. So Hanumanji said, what is this new law and legislation? And Lakshmanji had the whole printout in his hand and he showed it to Hanuman. Hanumanji was shocked. They have listed all the services and he looked 10 times. Not even a single service was assigned to him. And at the bottom of the legislation, there was a signature of Lord Ram. So Hanumanji was so shocked. Bhagwan Ram aisa anyay mere sangh kyun kar sakte hain? So he could not meet Lord Ram. He had to wait till the time Lord Ram could come to the assembly. When Lord Ram came to the assembly, Hanumanji was waiting all day just to meet Lord Ram. And then he went to the assembly and he said, Hey Prabhu, with his voice choked with emotion, Hey Prabhu, मैंने ऐसा क्या अन्याय करा है कि आपने मुझे अपनी एक भी सेवा करने का मौका नहीं दिया है. Now what could Lord Ram say? Lord Ram looked at Mother Sita because they were the conspirators. They had conspired against Hanumanji. So Lord Ram looked at Mother Sita. Mother Sita looked at the brothers. What can I say now? You have to address it. So Lakshmanji came ahead. Lakshmanji said, Ram, Hanumanji, please specify. Legislation has already been passed. There is no point discussing it. Why don't you just go and take some vacation? Go for some vacation. When you come back, then we'll discuss about the legislation again. Hanumanji was not willing to hear. He began to cry. He began to jump. He began to make, halla gulla. And finally, he began to bang his head against the wall. And everyone is shocked. What is this going on? Everyone is saying, please, please, Mother Sita came out. Please, Hanuman, please calm down. And finally, Hanumanji got pacified and he thought, इस क्राइसिस के समय में हल्ला गुल्ला करने से कुछ नहीं होगा. I have to have patience. Hanumanji is very intelligent. He said, I have to have patience. I have to think calmly. How do I resolve this? So he again took the legislation and he again read it 5 times. And then he told Lakshman and to Mother Sita and all of them, Hey Prabhu, आपने मुझे कोई सेवा तो नहीं दी है, परंतु अगर मैं कोई एक ऐसी सेवा खोज पाता हूँ, which is not there on this legislation, would you allow me to take that seva and serve Lord Ram? Now all the conspirators, which means the 3 brothers and Mother Sita, they looked at each other. And they were like, we have done 100% job. We have thoroughly researched this subject. There is no seva remaining for Hanuman to render. And they all with full confidence said, yes, Hanumanji, you have all of our blessings. If you find any such seva that we missed out, that is all yours. So Hanumanji thought for a few minutes and suddenly he found out one seva. And he began to jump. And they all were really terrified. Arey, kaun si seva dhoond li hai? Kaun si seva we have missed? And then Hanumanji said, आप लोगों ने बहुत चतुराई से ये सब कुछ legislation बनाया, पर फिर भी आप एक सेवा भूल गए हैं इसमें. So Mother Sita asked, what is that seva? And he said, चुटकी मारने की सेवा. Mother Sita said, what is a चुटकी मारने की सेवा? अरे, जब भगवान राम कहते हैं, when he would yawn, when you yawn, you do chutki. I mean, I don't know how much is the factual, but the point is, while yawning, if you do chutki, if you snap your finger, it said by yawning, your lifespan reduces. Maybe just, it's a fictional thing, but whatever it is said by yawning, your lifespan reduces. So he said, when Lord Ram would yawn, I would snap the finger so that his lifespan doesn't reduce. And Mother Sita was like, oh my goodness, how can I forget such an important seva? Hanumanji gets such an important seva now. And Hanumanji is fully joyful. All of them unanimously decided, yes, Hanumanji has found one seva, he has to do it. And Hanumanji is with full joy, jumping over, running around whole Ayodhya. And finally, the next day when his service began, he came right early in the morning. Now, you all understand the issue with yawning. The yawning does not happen at any fixed time. It is not that it is between 1 to 2 or maybe after lunch for half an hour the yawning would happen. You can yawn at any time of the day. And all 4 conspirators are in such an anxiety because now Hanumanji is by the side of Lord Ram 24/7. Now Hanumanji is so happy that this seva has given him an opportunity to be with Hanuman while waking up, while sleeping up. And like this, he can take a look at the beautiful face of Lord Ram. So Mother Sita tolerated few days, but after a while she got really upset because Hanuman would not even leave Ram in the night. He would be there right next to the bed of Ramji. When Lord Ram is sleeping, he would be just, holding his fingers like this and waiting when to snap if Ramji is yours. So this particular evening, Mother Sita got really upset and she said, Hanuman, you have to leave. You're really infringing on our privacy. So because Mother Sita chastised, spoke strongly, so Hanumanji decided to leave and he left. But he did not leave the palace. He just went out and again came back to the balcony of the room where Ram was sleeping. Ram and Sita was sleeping. So because Hanumanji was thinking, अरे मेरी सेवा तो है, मुझे सेवा तो करनी है. अब रात को ना जाने किस समय सोते समय भगवान राम ने yawn कर लिया. So because I cannot see Lord Ram, so what should I do? I should continuously keep snapping whole night. And Hanumanji started snapping. And Bhagwan Shri Krishna Bhagavad Gita में कहते हैं, ये यथा माम prapadyante. As he approached to me, I reciprocate. Lord Ram was already upset. His pure devotee has been chased away from his chambers. And Lord Ram was forced to respond to the intense desire of Hanuman. So when Lord Ram is supposed to yawn, so Hanumanji is supposed to snap. And Hanumanji is already snapping. So Lord Ram was forced to yawn. And now Hanumanji is snapping continuously. And Lord Ram is yawning continuously. Now we know if you yawn 2-3 times, it begins to ache. And if you yawn again and again and again and constantly, finally, apparently, Lord Ram fainted. His tears began to come from the eyes and his mouth fell wide open. Mother Sita is shocked. She called for Kaushalya. Kaushalya is shocked. Called for the brothers. Brothers are shocked. And everyone thought some ghostly figure have attacked Lord Ram. Why is he acting like this? They called for Vashishta Muni. Vashishta Muni came and he couldn't figure out. And then he asked, I see all of you here, but where is Hanuman? And then everyone looked around, where is Hanuman? Hanuman is not here. So they asked Sita Mataji, where is Hanuman? And Sita Mataji told everything to Vashishta Muni. And then Vashishta said, you know what? Call Hanuman. And Hanumanji, they looked for Hanuman, and finally they found Hanuman in the balcony. And Hanuman was still snapping. And when he came in front of Vashishta Muni, Vashishta Muni told Hanuman, Hanuman, all this thing happened because of your snapping. Please snapping your finger. As soon as Hanumanji stopped snapping, immediately Lord Ram became normal, his mouth closed. And everyone was shocked. And immediately the first thing that happened the next morning was Hanumanji was reinstated in his previous position. All the services that were taken for Hanumanji, all 4 conspirators said, this is too difficult a personality to handle. So let's not mess around with Hanumanji. We are happy whatever way he wants to serve. As such is the glory of Hanumanji, his dedication, his love and affection to serve Lord Ram. For many of us, it happens other way around. We begin to jump and howl and cry when we say our name in the service chart. Why me? Why my name is put in the service chart? However, Hanumanji was other way around. Why my name is not put in the service chart? And it's such a beautiful story which represents the mood and the soul and the consciousness of Hanumanji. And that is to just serve Lord Ram. And that's the reason he's a perfect example in a Dasya mood. So we'll move forward. And we'll come to the point where Hanumanji is about to jump. So Jambavan has reminded Hanumanji of his powers, and Hanumanji grew almost 50 times of his size, and he began to scream, hey Ahangad, hey Hanuman, you allow me right now. I'll fly, I will jump, I'll kill the Ravanas, I'll exterminate every single the warrior in Ravana's army, I will burn the whole Lanka, I will find Sita, I'll rescue Sita and bring her back here. Just you give me that one permission. Anga said, wait a second. Your seva is to just fly, find Sita and peacefully come back. You don't have to do anything else. We'll do the rest. So Hanumanji said, okay, all right. And like that, Hanumanji went on top of the Mahendra mountain and he jumped. And there's a beautiful description about Hanumanji preparing for a jump and then jumping in the Valmiki Ramayana. Not going too much in details, but the point is when Hanumanji was about to jump, he loudly chanted the Lord Ram's name and he leaped in the sky. And when he leaped, the force was such that the trees around Hanumanji, they all got uprooted and they began to also fly along with Hanumanji. However, because it was due to the force, so they couldn't fly longer, they all fell in the ocean. But such was the force and such was an enthusiasm of Hanumanji with which he leaped to perform his service for Lord Ram. And all through his journey, he was chanting Ram, Ram, Ram. This jump, ye jo chalang hai Hanumanji ki, it has a great significance. It has a great meaning. Hanumanji has jumped to find Sita, kidnapped by Ravana. And on the way, Hanumanji meets many obstacles. Actually, this jump of Hanumanji or this journey of Hanumanji across Lanka also represents the journey of a Jivatma, journey of a Bhakta in spiritual life. In search, I would not say in search, in uncovering or in rescuing the Bhakti. It is a Jivera Swarupa Krishnera Nityadas. All of us are already eternal servants of the Lord, but however, we have forgotten our original position. So what we need to do, we have to rekindle, we have to reawaken our consciousness, original consciousness. So the bhakti is already within us, but we have to find out the bhakti, we have to reawaken the bhakti. So during the process of reawakening bhakti, which is already there, dormant within us, there are several obstacles we all come across. And similarly, there were some obstacles that Hanumanji came upon his way, and Acharyas explained a beautiful meanings of those obstacles and some very important lessons. I would say if you have a pen and paper, at least write down the name of an obstacle and a lesson, because that is something we really want to by heart. If not, learn these things. So जब भी हमारे जीवन में वो कठिनाई आएगी, and it is not जब भी, we face such obstacles every day literally. So we have a role model of Hanumanji in terms of how to transcend those obstacles. So let's take a look at those obstacles that Hanumanji faced. The very first obstacle that Hanumanji faced on his journey was by the name of Mainaka. Mainaka जो था वो एक गोल्डन सोने का पर्वत था जो समुद्र की शरण लिए बैठा था इंद्रदेव के भय से. Now this Mainaka Parvat, the personality, the personification of this golden mountain by the name of Mainaka was a friend of Dashrath, was also a friend of Vayu. Vayu is the father of Hanuman, and Dashrath is father of Lord Ram. And Dashrath had helped Mainaka in the past. So because when Mainaka got to know कि ऐसे ऐसे हनुमान जी वायु पुत्र हनुमान राम दशरथ पुत्र दशरथ नंदन दशरथ पुत्र राम की मदद के लिए सेवा के लिए ये समुद्र पार करके जा रहे हैं, तो उन्होंने सोचा as a respect and as a gratitude what their forefathers have done for me, I should also serve Hanumanji. So this golden mountain came out of the ocean and offered a very lush green forest filled with lakes, fresh fruits, as a place for Hanumanji to rest. So in other words, the Manaka mountain, urged Hanumanji, please kindly come and take rest. You have been traveling for such a long time. Kindly give me a second. Yeah, I just had to mute all of you. Somebody's background noise was coming. So this Manaka mountain, with all right intentions, he requested Hanumanji, you have been already working so hard. Please allow me to serve you. Please take a break. And Hanumanji said, no, although I respect you, I appreciate what you want to offer me, but I cannot take any rest until I finish my seva. I have a mission to fulfill. And because Lord Ram is waiting for me, so I have to complete my seva. Until I complete my seva, I will not take any rest. However, if you see that Mainaka Parvat offered a great opportunity for Hanumanji to engage in sense gratification. There were lush green forests and trees laden with ripened fruits, which wanderers love. An incredible opportunity. And there were other many distractions available. Yet Hanumanji did not bother about it. So this Mainaka Parvat represents two obstacles, which we, at least I don't know about all of you, at least I can say for myself, with which at least I struggle day in and day out. And this is a constant battle. And that's the reason Hanumanji is a role model for all of us in that context. So just a second. Yeah. So the first obstacle which is represented by this Manaka mountain for all of us in our devotional life is laziness, aram. So often the comfort, the idea of sense gratification, or I would not say sense gratification as per se, the laziness, you all understand what laziness is. We render service for a while and then we think, oh, it's been so long, I've been doing so many services, I'm physically tired, I'm mentally tired and whatnot, because of which we fail to perform our responsibilities towards the Lord, towards the family, towards the society, and towards a circle of devotees. This one single thing, laziness, that becomes such a big obstruction in our spiritual progress. It's just because of laziness we struggle to do our sadhana properly. It's just because of laziness we struggle to perform our services properly. And just because of this laziness we keep on procrastinating. The mind, Srila Prabhupada used to say, idle mind is a devil's workshop. If we don't engage our mind in seva, then our mind gets filled with temptations. Just like temptations were offered to Hanumanji by Manaka Parvat, but Hanumanji did not got at once, not even once he got distracted. So similarly, we have to be careful of this laziness tendency. And how to transcend this, I will speak about it in a quick second, how to deal with it. And second is distractions. Distraction is another big challenge, big problem that we face thanks to the smartphone, internet, and whatnot. Even before we start our morning, we start our smartphone, check for updates and whatnot. So we are living in a world which is greatly troubled by this great destructive agents all around us and many other things that really cause trouble. And these obstacles like laziness, distraction, really deviate us from our mission. Our mission, we have all started to, we all have a mission goal to serve Lord Ram, to serve Guru and Guranga, to serve the society. But ये हमारे आलसपन होने के कारण, हमारे distractions होने के कारण हम अपने रास्ते से भटक जाते हैं. Think about Srila Prabhupada. He's a perfect example. How he handled. He was a 70-year-old man living comfortably in Radha Damodar temple in Vrindavan. Yet, although the age was such, he was not at all lazy. He was writing, he was working so hard. And for the sake of everyone, he traveled across the 7 seas to bring the message of God or to bring the message of Krishna to everyone. So, if you want to deal with these challenges, by the way, how many of you have experienced these challenges in your life? Laziness and distraction. And I guess these days, one of the biggest distraction is with the news channel. Everyone is tuned into the news. But I'll tell you one interesting thing. Generally news channel talk about all the bad news. The good part with the bad news is you don't have to chase after the bad news. If something is really bad, that bad news will chase after you. You'll get to know from someone or other because people generally love to talk about all the bad news. So, can I just see the raise of hand or can you just respond on the chat box? How many of you have experienced these obstacles? I mean, I can just see one person here, Gaurav. Maybe you can use a chat box to reply so I can see the comments later on. So I hope you recognize, half of the battle is already won when you recognize that we have these challenges. So if you recognize that you have this challenge, if you face this problem, then how to transcend probably would be helpful for all of you. So how did Hanumanji transcended the temptations which were given by the Manaka mountain? The opportunity to take rest, opportunity for distraction. How did Hanumanji transcended that? Hanumanji was completely focused, absorbed in the service of the Lord. He had a mission to fulfill and his mind was completely absorbed in it. In other words, as Prabhupada would say, become so busy in performing and rendering services that you're too busy to be engaged in sense gratification. You're too busy to get distracted. You don't have time for distractions. And that's the reason services to the Lord plays a very vital role in our progress in Krishna consciousness. We should all aspire. If we don't have services, then we should ask for services so that we can stay engaged. Just by creating services by ourselves, that's not the mean. Service to Lord Hanuman or service to Hanumanji was given by Lord Ram. He did not discover a service for himself. So it's not that what services we discovered, but the services which are given to us actually keeps us focused and prevents us from these two obstacles of laziness and obstruction. Laziness and what was the other one? Laziness and distractions. Yes, I don't know why did I say obstruction. For example, I just want to thank our Pranjal Prabhu and Vishnu Kiran Prabhu. They both are doing a lot of tremendous services from the last 3 weeks apparently. I guess this Ancient Wisdom program and also the Wisdom Snippet program has been going on for the last 3 weeks. And now this weekend, I believe we started our, what do they call, Gita Wisdom program. They have a lot to coordinate. They have a lot to do with attendance keeping, the recording, and they all have to attend all the sessions, although they like or not like, but they have to be part of it because they have to record and whatnot. Then they maintain the attendance record, then they answer queries, and so many contacts to deal with. There's so many people. In fact, I'm getting troubled by so many contacts now because there's so many queries coming. So I'm delegating some of the queries to them. But I don't know how they are feeling about it, but I feel in this time when people have some time available, this is a good opportunity to be engaged in seva rather than being with our own mind. And that's how we can transcend these issues of laziness and distraction. So that's from Manaka Mountain or the Golden Mountain. So the second demon or the obstruction or the challenge that Hanumanji faced when he was flying towards Lanka was a goddess Surasa. Now, she's the daughter of Daksha. Daksha is the son of Brahma. Not the Daksha, I've spoken about Daksha? Yeah, not the Daksha which is mentioned in the 6th canto, but Daksha, the son of Brahma, not of Prachetas. And she is goddess of, she's mother of all Nagas, all Sarpas. So she has been requested by Devatas to particularly come and obstruct Hanumanji's journey, to check Hanumanji for his strength, for his valor, and also for his buddhimata, intelligence. Because Hanumanji, for rest of his journey, would need a lot of strength, a lot of intelligence to navigate his way through the forces of Ravana and find Sita. तो इसलिए देवी देवता चाहते थे कि हनुमान जी की परीक्षा ली जाए. So this goddess came out of the ocean, looked very terrifying, as you can see in the photo, and she opened her mouth and she said, "Hey Hanuman, मुझे ब्रह्मा से वरदान मिला है कि कोई मुझे पार करके नहीं जा सकता. जो भी मेरे समीप या मुझसे ऊपर से जाने का प्रयत्न करेगा, उसको मेरे मुंह के अंदर घुस के जाना पड़ेगा. I am going to eat you, Hanuman." So Hanuman ji said, "My dear mother, whatever is your term and condition, I don't want to, bypass the blessings of Brahmaji. I'm willing to follow whatever you're telling me, but I have a request. Please allow me to fulfill my seva to Lord Ram. Let me find Mother Sita and deliver my message to Lord Ram. I promise you I'll come back to you and fulfill your vow, whatever the blessing has been given to you." Surasa began to laugh. She said, "What do you think? I'm a fool? You think that you'll go and come back? It's not going to happen. I'm going to eat you. Get ready, Hanuman." So Hanuman said, "Well, Surasa, your mouth is so small as compared to my size. How will you eat me?" Surasa said, "Wait and watch." She opened her mouth wide. She grew in size. So when she was opening her mouth wide, Hanumanji also began to increase his size. Hanumanji grew into a huge, humongous body. And similarly, Surasa kept on, increasing her size. But finally, because हनुमान जी की बुद्धिमत्ता अब शक्ति का कहते हैं परीक्षा थी, तो शक्ति तो दिखा चुके थे, अभी इंटेलिजेंस बुद्धिमत्ता का प्रयोग करना था. So Hanuman ji immediately became the size of a thumb, flew inside the mouth of a Surasa and came back by fulfilling the blessing that she had received from Brahma. Because Surasa had had expanded her mouth so wide, it took a time for her to close. And then Surasa came back into her natural size and she was so happy. She blessed Hanuman. "Hanuman, I'm so pleased with your valor as well as so pleased with your intelligence." And she said that how she was sent by Devatas to test you. And she blessed Hanuman, "May you be successful in your mission." So Surasa, our acharyas explained, represents an obstacle, the obstacle that we all face, even while before coming to Krishna consciousness, or maybe after coming to Krishna consciousness, when we get settled in our devotional life, we get fixed up in chanting our 16 hours, practicing Ekadashi, all different practices, regulations, so forth. After some time, because we have been practicing our bhakti steadily for some time, a demon begins to manifest in our heart, जिसका नाम है pride, और उसको अहंकार भी कह सकते हैं, false ego, I believe. हिंदी में इसको घमंड कहते हैं. That begins to manifest in our heart. Look at me, how great I am. I do Ekadashi, Nirjal Ekadashi I do. I can sing so nicely. I can play musical instruments so nicely. I can speak so wonderfully. I can speak for hours. I can engage the kids. I can cook so nicely and whatnot. And because of this pride obstructs our progress in bhakti. What it indicates is like getting stuck into the mouth of Surasa. That's what this pride means. Because pride does not come alone. Pride comes along with the feeling of competition. Because now you want to maintain your pride. So you become highly competitive. You begin to compete with others to prove that you are better than others. And in that competition, a person becomes victim. So that's what had happened in the beginning with Hanuman and Surasa. Hanuman was growing, Surasa was growing in the south, was opening her mouth wider and wider. So how did Hanumanji transcended this obstacle of pride? Have you experienced this obstacle, by the way? Please raise your hand, or otherwise reply to chat box. If once in a while you have experienced this emotion of pride, oh, मुझसे बढ़कर कौन? Well, I can hardly see anyone of you, so raising a hand is probably not the best option. Maybe you can just reply on the chat box. So, yes or no, what do you think about it? So, how did Hanumanji transcend it? We're running short of time. So how did he transcend it? As you see, Hanumanji immediately took a humble role. Immediately became very small, went into the mouth of Surasa and came out. Similarly, we need to understand and recognize the power of humility. His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj speaks at length about the subject of humility and gratitude. Trinadapi Sunichena Tarurapi Sahisnana Manadina Manadina Kirtanya Sudhari is the verdict of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That he said we should put this verse as a garland around our neck so that we never forget it. And what is that? About humility. We should be humble. Humility is a powerful tool. And see what happened. As soon as he became humble, even Surasa got transformed. Surasa earlier was competing with Hanumanji. But because Hanumanji took a humble role, Surasa got transformed and she blessed Hanumanji. And that is the power of humility. A very beautiful example comes from the life of Hanumanji, where he exhibited humility again and again. This is the time when Hanumanji has found Sita and he has come back to Lord Ram to give the message. When Lord Ram saw Hanuman, he was so happy. And in excitement, Lord Ram asked Hanuman, "Oh, mighty hero, how did you cross the ocean? Please tell me everything. How did you cross the ocean?" And Ramji was very excited. And Hanumanji, with his head bowed down, with all humility, said, "By the power and glory of thy name, my Lord," which means by the power and glory of your name, because I was chanting your name all through the journey. That's the reason I could cross or fly across the ocean. So Ramji said, "Okay, but how did you burn Lanka? How did you save yourself from the hands of Ravana?" Again, with all humility, his Hanumanji's head bowed down. He said, "My dear Lord, by thy grace," which means by your grace I was able to do it. Lord Shri Krishna tells how a foolish person thinks in Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, 27th verse. It defines the consciousness of a foolish person, and that is Prakriti Kriyamanani Buddha Karvani Sarvasha Ahankara Vimudatma Kartam Iti Manate. ये तीसरे अध्याय का 27वां श्लोक है जहाँ पे भगवान कहते हैं a foolish person thinks that he is the doer. Well, he is not the doer. He's forced to perform activities under the control of his moods and the purview of the time and so forth. Hanumanji was so powerful, so intelligent. Yet he said, "My dear Lord, it's because of you, because of your mercy." And actually, that's a fact. Everything happens by the mercy of the Lord. So, humility. And Hanumanji showed that humility again and again. The second obstacle represented by Surasa is choose your battle, which means in life we'll come across situations, uh, conflicts that may arise at different times in our life. At that point in time, we need to really discuss, we need to really think about it, what is important and what is not important. Many things may go wrong around us, and we may be tempted to feel to set everything right. जब तक ये सारी प्रॉब्लम्स खत्म नहीं होगी मैं शांत नहीं बैठूंगा. But we forget at that point of time that we are very finite beings. We are finite beings with finite time, energy, and resources. Again, if we try to fight every single battle that comes our way, for example, this coronavirus, there's nothing that you and I can do except for protecting ourselves and following the rules and the instructions that government and the respective society has given to you. If you're a medical practitioner, if you're a scientist, maybe you can contribute. If you're an IT engineer, I don't think so we can do much about it. But spending our too much time on the news channel talking about it, we'll have to fix it or something. We're not going to fix it because it's beyond our control. So when we try to fix all the problems around us, we end up draining ourselves and we end up fighting endlessly and unlimited battles in our life. As a result, we get distracted from the mission, the journey that we took in spiritual life. We lack energy, we lack focus, and we get distracted. So Hanumanji faced with that battle, rather than fighting head on with Surasa, Hanumanji thought not to waste his time. He became humble, fulfilled the desire of Surasa, and disappeared from there immediately. Similarly, we don't have to face everyone head on, or all the challenges head on. We have to prioritize what is important for me or what is not, and move on with the life. So, how did Hanumanji transcended that? How can you choose your battles properly in your life? First thing, we have to stay focused on our mission. Just like Hanumanji was focused, totally focused. He said, Sursa, I cannot wait, I cannot do it right now. I have to go because I have service to render. So first thing is stay focused on your mission, the journey of life. Second, recognize what is important to our life. And how can we recognize? We can only recognize what is important to us under the guidance of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. We should regularly keep in touch with our mentors and guide and teachers, and we should regularly hear and read scriptures because scriptures tells us and realigns our goal again and again. And that is how we can choose our battles rightly or properly in our life. Hanumanji flew again, and now he's flying, and suddenly he's stuck midway in the sky. He's not able to move. He tried with all his might and power, but Hanumanji is not able to move at all. And then Hanumanji looked back towards the sea and he saw a demon, a demoness by the name of Simhika. This demoness was planted by Ravana in the ocean as an act of protecting anyone coming to Lanka. And she was blessed with the power that she could catch a person by his reflection and then drag the person through the reflection into her mouth and kill the person. Similarly, the Simika began to pull Hanumanji through his reflection into her mouth. And what did Hanumanji do? Hanumanji did when Hanumanji realized that I cannot escape. He used the same momentum, downward spiral, and he went flying into her mouth, went right into the abdomen, and began to tear apart her liver, lungs, and everything, and finally tore apart her heart, in which she died. And at that point of time, she vomited the blood, and like that, Hanumanji came out and he continued his journey towards Lanka. So, what obstacle is represented by Simika? We talked about the Golden Mountain that represented uh, the obstacle of laziness. What was the second obstacle represented by the Golden Mountain? If you remember, please type in the chat box. So the first obstacle was laziness. What was the second obstacle represented by the Golden Mountain to a life of a sadhaka? Some of you I see are begin to type. The second obstacle was distractions. And we saw how to transcend those two things. Similarly, the second obstacle faced by Hanumanji was Simika. What obstacle Simika represented? The first obstacle represented by Simika was, please type in your answers so I see that you are attentive, was pride. And how did he transcend? We had already discussed. I'm not going to go into details. And the second obstacle represented by the mother of the Nagas was choose your battle. Don't deal with every obstacle. So what obstacle is represented by Simika in the journey of a spiritualist? A very grave, very serious, and very difficult. It takes a lot of time to give up this obstacle. And that is the obstacle of envy. Anyone has ever experienced this demon by the name of envy in their life? What is envy? Envious person, so let me just tell you what this envy means. An envious person, he tries to find any fault. He's just always looking to see if he can find any fault in a devotee. Just like Simika caught of a shadow, the shadow in this context represents the bad quality or maybe some little discrepancy in the life of a devotee. So just like Simika caught hold of the shadow, similarly, envious people focus and put all their energy on that one small bad quality. And just like Simika began to drag Hanumanji through the shadow, similarly, such envious persons, forgetting all the good work done by a devotee, they want to drag the devotee downwards so that his devotional life can be spoiled and can be disturbed. But the fact is, just like the envy of Simika destroyed Simika, similarly, The scriptures warns us. Scriptures tells us if you become envious of Vaishnava, nothing would happen to that Vaishnava, but your life would be completely messed up. You will be destroyed, just like what happened to Simha. So, how did Hanumanji transcend it? Or, in other words, how can we transcend, not Hanumanji, how can we transcend the obstacle of envy? So, antidote of envy. If you want, you can write down the title, Antidote of Envy. Envy. You go on audio.iscondesiratory.com, type this title in the search box, Antidote of Envy. You'll find a class by His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj. You can take as a homework, and maybe tomorrow evening you can listen to that lecture rather than I to come up. Please listen. It's a very, very beautiful lecture where Maharaj at length talks about how to deal with envy. So, in essence, how to deal with envy. Our mind, if it is prone to be envious of others, it means our mind is prone to find faults. So, we have to train our mind. I'm saying again, pay attention. The word train, we have to train our mind to find good in others. And how can you practice that? How can you train your mind to do so? Practically, how to do it practically? One very easy way to do it is to maintain a gratitude journal. It's highly recommended to a spiritualist to maintain a gratitude journal where on a daily basis or a weekly, I would say in the beginning, better you do a daily basis, you express your gratitude for certain devotees, which means a lot for you in your life, who play a very important role, which can be in three categories: senior, peer, and a junior. If you have a junior, okay. If not, you have a senior and a peer. Write one or two statements about gratitude, how these devotees have helped you or helping you in day-to-day life. But like this, when you train your mind, then our mind gets trained up to look at the good side, not the bad side. Otherwise, for an envious person, he's always prone to look at the wrong side. However, to be able to apply this, you have to cross over the very first obstacle. What was the very first obstacle? That was laziness, alaspan. So don't be lazy. Are can't daddy maintain karega. Please try to do it just for 2 weeks. Every day, just write down one nice thing about a devotee, who you classify in a senior and a peer category. Come back to me, tell me how do you feel after 2 weeks. You will experience a great transformation. And like that, we can deal with this and the issue of envy. So I guess our time should be over by now. Oh, we have 6 minutes, great. So I'll not go too much in details. So these were the main obstacles. Finally, Hanumanji reached the shore of Lanka and he saw on the top of Trikuta mountain the golden city of Lanka, and he was amazed at the beauty of the city. Hanumanji took a form of a small monkey and began to crawl on the shore so that he doesn't get noticed by any of the spies of Ravana. But suddenly Hanumanji got caught face to face by the goddess of Lanka by the name of Lankani. And she began to threaten Hanuman, who was in the form of a monkey. At that time, hey, who are you? Why did you come here? You're not allowed to enter, and so forth. She began to threaten Hanumanji because she was not allowing Hanumanji to enter. Hanumanji was forced in the service of Lord Ram to take an action against his Lankani. And from his left hand, he gave a tight slap. Drap. Your tight slap Lankani, and she fell away rolling on the ground. First she cried and then she began to laugh. She said, thank you for slapping me. And Hanuman is wondering, what kind of lady is she? She's mental or what? After getting slapped, she's saying thank you. She said, I was foretold long ago that one day a monkey will come and I'll be slapped by that monkey. And the day I'm slapped by the monkey, it means the end of Ravana's dynasty is very close by. She was also a goddess in a previous life who had got cursed. And because of this slap of Hanumanji, she got liberated from the curse also. And like that, Hanumanji crossed the obstacle, took a form of a small cat, entered the Lanka. The whole detail is mentioned in Ramayana. We'll not get into those details right now. But finally, he found Mother Sita, consoled Mother Sita. He really exhibited his buddhimata at that point of time, how he met Mother Sita, how he convinced her. Finally, after showing his intelligence, he also wanted to show his courage, his bravery, his valor. He wanted to estimate the power and strength of Ravana's army, and he also wanted to see Ravana face to face. So he began to cause havoc in Ashokavatika. Ravana sent his ministers and many soldiers to capture Hanumanji. Finally, Hanumanji allowed himself to be captured and he was brought in front of Ravana. And very beautiful conversation happened between Hanumanji and Ravana. And Ravana asked, "Who are you? Give your introduction." Now, Hanumanji just flew across the ocean. He has everything to pat himself on the back and say how great I am. And you know what Hanumanji said? I am just a lowly servant of Ram. I am just a messenger of Ram. And like me, there are hundreds and thousands of wanderers waiting to cross over and destroy you and destroy Lanka. By the command of Lord Ram, I have come here, and I am fearless by the grace of Lord Ram. I am not afraid of death. What all matters to me is my worshipable Lord, and I am his humble servant. What a humility. And that's the reason why Lord Ram trusted Hanumanji and gave him his ring because of such wonderful attributes and qualities of Hanumanji. So again, I'm bringing on the point of cultivating humility that really pleases Guru Gauranga and the Lord. इसलिए राम ने हनुमान को इससे अंगूठी दी थी because he knew Hanumanji would be successful. And finally, as you know, Hanumanji's tail was put on fire. He went around, burned the whole Lanka, came back, met Lord Ram, and Lord Ram embraced Hanumanji, and he declared that you're the best of the servant who has fulfilled the mission. And here, I'll just take 2-3 more minutes just to make one final point, a very, very important point. This is a picture of Hanumanji flying towards Lanka. Hanumanji, on order of Lord Ram, went to Lanka. Before I say that, just to conclude the pastime of Hanumanji, before I speak about another great personality related to Hanumanji, like this, when we study the character of Hanumanji, we can draw so many nice inspirations for ourselves in our devotional life. Maybe at the end of the session, maybe you can write a comment as a feedback. Did you find this whole discussion of Hanumanji helpful? Do you feel inspired by the life of Hanumanji? Do you find some valuable lessons and learnings for yourself to apply in your bhakti? Similarly, like how Hanumanji lived his life, we have a real life example of a devotee who also followed in the footpath of Hanumanji and rescued Sita. And Sita means the bhakti and distributed the bhakti all over the world. So Hanumanji flew on the order of Ram, went across the ocean to Lanka, which represent a place of hedonism, sense gratification. Similarly, an old man at the age of 70, he also traveled on the order of his Guru Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, crossed the 7 oceans. Like Hanumanji faced obstacles in his life, in his journey. Similarly, Srila Prabhupada had heart attack. He faced so many challenges, yet he did not get distracted. He was not lazy. Hanuman flew across the ocean. Srila Prabhupada went in a cargo ship. Hanumanji faced challenges. Similarly, Srila Prabhupada faced challenges, but not even once Srila Prabhupada thought to turn around. And what did he express? Hanumanji is known for his service attitude and humility. And when Srila Prabhupada reached to the shore of New York, he said, "My dear Lord, I only have one desire to you. Please make me a puppet in your hands and allow me to fulfill your mission." Srila Prabhupada didn't ask for something that where are the devotees waiting for me? There is no arrangement made for me. How would I perform my services? And like that. And what was the purpose of Hanuman? The purpose of Hanuman was to find Sita, rescue Sita, and inform Lord Ram about it. Similarly, Prabhupada had a purpose. And what was the purpose? The purpose was to rescue Sita. Sita represents bhakti. Bhakti hidden in the heart of every living entity. Prabhupada went there to tell every living entity that you are an eternal servant of Lord Ram, Lord Shri Krishna. Please reawaken bhakti. And like that, Srila Prabhupada rescued bhakti in the hearts of so many living entities. And he told everyone that you're not the controller, proprietor, enjoy, but you are a servant of the Lord. Just like Hanumanji was successful in fulfilling the mission of Lord Ram, so does Srila Prabhupada was successful. He represented the same qualities of courage, buddhimata, intelligence, determination, and whatnot, just like Hanumanji represented. Hanumanji was successful from the beginning to the end, bringing Sita back to Ram. Similarly, Srila Prabhupada. In less than 12 years, as you all know, he opened 108 temples all over the world, initiated more than 5,000 students all across the world, translated more than 70 Vedic scriptures from Sanskrit into English, more than hundreds of millions of books of Prabhupada were distributed, established farm communities in Gurukul and so forth, whatnot, in less than 12 years of his life, between the age of 70 to 82. And such was the massive contribution of Srila Prabhupada, an example of a modern day saint who represented the attributes and qualities of Lord Hanuman. So if all of us also try to follow in the footsteps of either of Hanumanji and Srila Prabhupada, we all would be successful. I would encourage, or rather, I would humbly request all of you, please do read Srila Prabhupada's biography, Srila Prabhupada Lilamrit. Can you just write in the chat box how many of you have actually read it? Or how many of you have Prabhupada biography but have not read it? And you haven't read and you don't have a copy. You can just type in the chat box so at least I know what's the status. So whenever we meet, I'll get a copy of Prabhupada Lilamrit for you so that you can read it. We have it in our center. You can type it back into the chat box and I'll read your comments afterwards, what you typed. And the last slide, I guess I'm overboard. I'm already 3 minutes over now. So yesterday when I began to speak about homework, suddenly internet went away. So let's see, I'm about to speak about homework again, if internet would be there or not. So yesterday the homework was to find out incidents from Srila Prabhupada, incidents from Hanumanji's life, where he exhibited the 4 qualities of determination, of vision, which means foresight, and intelligence and expertise. And today the homework for you is to find out incidents from the life of Srila Prabhupada, as many as you can recall, where Srila Prabhupada exhibited these qualities. And please do a write-up and send it to me. And because some of you have done your homework, so extremely grateful. I believe I have responded to most of you. In case if I have not responded, actually I'm dealing with a lot of WhatsApp messages lately. So please ping me back. So I'll see that you had responded to me. And those of you who have not, so we'll give you a day or two break. I will not come tomorrow for a session. You already have a lot of homework to do. And I've already also suggested a class by His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj by the name Antidote of Envy. Pranjal, if you're listening to me, you can find out the link for that class and share that class on Ancient Wisdom course. So that will help all of them to have the class with them and they can hear. So maybe tomorrow, if not, probably tomorrow we'll give a holiday. So you have a time to do your introspection. We have been listening a lot. So let's do some introspection and churning. And once I get homework for most of you, at least, as many as you can do, then we'll resume our discussion back again from Srimad Bhagavatam and conclude our Vritrasa story. So with that, I sincerely thank all of you for time and staying back for 20 minutes past 9 and sacrificing your Ramayana serial. So I hope you're not too much upset about it, that I took extra time. You can watch the recording. I believe the recording will be played out sometime. So thank you once again. All of you have a wonderful day. In case if anyone has any comments or questions or concern, I'm available for a few minutes. You can respond. And if I can just see who all are present, who all are attending this program. So I do see Atul Prabhu here, Kaushal Prabhu. Oh, our Ranjita is there. I saw Gaurav, Jatin, our Meena Mataji is there. Our boys from the center. Who else do we have here? Okay, the boys, Hare Krishna. Okay, a couple of you are there, fine. So Shivam and Lovely, okay, great. So, okay, I don't want to infringe on your privacy in case if you don't want to come out on camera. So thank you for joining. So the session is over and we'll meet soon. Hare Krishna, Lal Vishwani ji. So yeah, we recently met on our Gita Wisdom group. Great to see you around. All right, so have a wonderful day and thank you for joining. And I hope you are clear with your homework. So whenever you get time, please do it. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Oh, I had unmuted you all in case somebody has to say anything. Okay, and we'll start.